Hello Cancer, welcome to your tarot reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is a timeless reading, so whenever you happen to be watching this reading was meant to find you. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, and consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. Okay? Remember that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And there is the Art or Temperance card, Major Arcana. Lovely way to start a reading for Cancer. Let's put that into some context, and we're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. And as I do this, I would also like to say that if there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments. Finishing up our Dove and Serpent spread here. Whoops, we knocked the dove over. I hope that's not a bad omen for the reading. I don't think so. Let's see what we have here. Before we look at these cards, though, let's do our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. We're going to use Rider-Waite-Smith. And this is the card that we are going to set aside. We're not going to look at it until the very end of the reading. And hopefully that will tie everything together and, give us the confirmation that we need. So we have major on the horizontal axis of the path of the dove. We have all major arcana cards. So I think the work that you're doing right now is an intensely spiritual work. I think that you've received the call from Spirit and you are pushing toward your goal, okay? Towards your success, toward your fulfillment, whatever this kind of spiritual work is that you're doing. It's very meaningful for you. It's very potent. It's very powerful, okay? We also see a water court card. We see some fire, more fire, more fire, more fire. We see some earth and air. So it is fairly balanced, though it's heavy on the fire, heavy on the major arcana. So that tells me that you're really getting an inspiration from Spirit right now, okay? And that is really, that's really firing you up. That's really like eliciting a powerful, potent, psychic, spiritual force and fire response in you. Okay, so you're really resonating and harmonizing with this message that you seem to have received from Spirit. Okay, now we're going to talk first about this Art or Temperance card, though this card is, I think this is kind of the, this is the shell in which all of these other energies are taking place. Okay, and what this card means, I think, right now in this context is that you've not had an easy go of it, Cancer. Okay, you've been through some struggles, and I think that Spirit really knows that you're a strong person. You're not given any situation or set of circumstances. You're not given any problem, any trouble that you can't handle ultimately. Okay, we may fail, we may falter, we may lag, we may lament, we may complain a little bit, but there's nothing that we can't handle. And I think universe, I think Spirit, God, Goddess, deity, whatever you want to call it, I think knows that. Okay, so in some ways you are looking at this spiritual work that you're doing now, and I really do think that you have a very solid relationship with Spirit. Okay. I think that you're very connected. I think you do look at your work as a holy task, as a, it's of divine import. It's really related to your purpose and your fulfillment on a very deep level, okay? I think that the challenges, the trials, the obstacles and roadblocks that we may encounter along the way are all part of the process, okay? We don't run into obstacles because the universe just doesn't like us. No, we run into obstacles to strengthen us piece by piece, right, through these obstacles. Again, it's nothing that we can't handle, but through those challenges, we're forced to grow. We're forced to get stronger, better, faster, whatever. mostly a strength of will, okay? Because, trust me, I'm a Cancer too, so I know that sometimes Cancers can be overwhelmed by things, okay? And we may have a tendency, maybe some of us have a tendency to take things a little personally and withdraw into our shell and just kind of to isolate from whatever it is, whatever the work is, whatever the task, whatever the environment is. We tend to kind of withdraw. We go into ourselves a little bit, okay? So if we meet with too many challenges that start to seem a little personal, we may just kind of give up and retire inside of ourselves, okay? Maybe, sometimes. Not all of us. So I think really what the lesson here is trying to strengthen your willpower in the forge of trials and tribulations, okay? And what we see center focus today is this furnace with this Ace of Wands within it, okay? This art or temperance card. We're kind of going with the temperance side of things, where it's really trying to temper, as in harden your Ace of Wands. Now, no innuendo there. This is about strengthening our willpower, our commitment, our link with the divine, our link with our own soul and our own creativity. This is the willpower to keep pushing even when it seems like at every turn there's another obstacle. Well, the universe just must not like me. And you know what? That's fine with me. I'm going to keep going anyway. I'm going to make the universe like me by showing that I can withstand all of these hurdles, all of these roadblocks and obstacles. Okay? So we're strengthening our willpower, and the willpower is our ability to turn our word into action, right? And that's, I think, exactly what we're doing with these cards here, because there's a lot of earth, there's a lot of fire, a lot of major arcana. Actually, there's not a lot of earth. Let me take that back. We have Earth in terms of the Wheel of Fortune, which is some Jupiter energy, which I kind of feel right now has like a heavy, earthy kind of vibe. We've got the Four of Discs, which is very solid Earth, right? And we have all of this fire energy feeding into it. And we also have this lovely water energy with the Queen of Cups and with this Empress energy. Okay. So I feel like you are preparing yourself for the biggest challenge, right? We used to use the title on this channel, The Fight of Your Life is Coming. And that is precisely this kind of vibe, the readiness to meet any challenge that's coming our way, okay? And I think that's what you're preparing for right now. The challenge not of things going wrong, not of obstacles in our way necessarily, but perhaps being our own obstacle, right? Because we're trying to strengthen that willpower. We're trying to strengthen the ability for us to translate fire into earth. Our word, our commitment, our inspiration, our creativity, our force, our fire, into concrete results, into I'm going to say I'm going to do it, and then I do it. And I think what we're really looking for is peace and Empress energy, success, happiness, love, appreciation, right? We're not looking for status, right? This is an Empress. It's not an Emperor. If it were the Emperor, maybe I'd say we're looking for status. We're looking for recognition. You know, we're looking for fame and fortune, right? I think we may still be looking for fortune, but we don't really care about the fame. In all actuality, we probably wouldn't like it very much anyway. We're looking for peace. We're looking for calm. We're looking for love. We're looking for affection, appreciation. We're looking for respect, but on an emotional level. You know, we're here to say, look, this is who I am. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to stick around. But those that do resonate with you, I think, are resonating very strongly with you. You know, the friends that you have, the loved ones that you have are very close. You hold them very, very dear because you don't You don't want a lot of friends. You know what I mean? You don't want that fame. You want a few people, choice people very close to you. Really close family, right? Just a couple of people. And I think that's what we're working towards, Empress energy. And this could be in terms of your career. Maybe this is all focused on the work that you're doing for a career. Maybe this is something artistic in your private life. Maybe this is family. Maybe this is just you doing this inner spiritual work that says, look, I've got to make decisions. I've got to take maybe an oath unto myself. I've got to make promises to myself that I follow through with, right? That I follow through with. Underneath it all, 10 of Wands here. This is easier said than done. You're already stretched pretty thin. I think you have a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders, okay? I think that you don't have very much idle kind of time. I think you're already very much giving your word and following through, okay? I think you're a very trustworthy person. I think that this trust, rather than being, though, a commitment of will coming from ourselves, coming from this Ace of Wands, right? Our word, and it's something that we are inspiring or aspiring toward, and we commit to it, we take an oath and we do it. The 10 of Wands is telling me that, yeah, you follow through with what you say you're going to do, but it feels like it's out of a feeling of responsibility, right? It's like not exactly a choice. I'm trying to rephrase this. It's still a choice, but it feels like it's more out of a sense of obligation, a sense of responsibility, rather than out of a sense of being inspired and expressing our creative will, right? It's an obligation, or it's a responsibility that you have that it's kind of in a passive way, right? This is a 10 of Wands, like I said. It's more of a passive state. I know it's fire energy, but it's an even number. It's a state rather than an action, right? It's a noun rather than a verb. This is the state of having a lot of responsibilities and kind of and doing what you're supposed to be doing. So this is a lot different than an ace. An Ace of Wands is the original active expression of creativity and will and determination. This is an odd number, obviously. So this is the kind of original verb. This is the original act of creation, not the state of being created. Right? We're going from the Ace, the 1 of fire, to the 10 of fire. 1 through 10, right? We're skipping everything in between. And the 10 is that state of being manifested, of your energy now is being used in various places, and it's almost become automatic, right? It's out of that sense of responsibility and obligation. It's just, it is, okay? The Ace of Wands is what does, and this is what we're trying to get back to, finding out what you want to commit yourself to. And I'm not saying throw out all of these responsibilities, but ask yourself if these are things that you have willed, that you have spoken into creation. Okay? This is the original act of creation, and this is what we need to get back to, so that you can express yourself, who you are, what you're all about, what your purpose is. I think the spiritual work that you're doing right now is a big part of that. Tapping back into your own creative source, the mind of God, the will of God, goddess, deity, spirit of universe, and tapping into your own spark, your own divine flame, and issuing forth your own word. What are you all about? What is your purpose? What is your intention? What is your creation going to be? And this is you in the process of creating it. This is the manifestation of those things that originate here. With the 10 of Wands that was at the bottom here, this is that underlying drain on your energy that, yes, we all have responsibilities, of course. We all have things that we are doing, that we're responsible for. We have obligations, promises that we've made, commitments that we've made, life decisions that we've made that now put us in a position of our energy needing to go in various places, right? With job, with family, friends, school, whatever. This is different than that. This is something that is, well, let me rephrase that. We need to get back to the source of this, right? To understand that, yes, in one sense, we did issue forth these words that brought about this Ten of Wands. All of the obligations and responsibilities that we have now originated with us issuing forth a word saying, even if it's just saying, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll take that job, that responsibility. Yes, I'll add that to my plate. So ultimately it was our decision and our act of creation, but how conscious were we of that decision, So I think a lot of this temperance energy for you right now is to go through all of these various obligations and responsibilities that we have and find the source, find that moment where we issued forth our will to create this into manifestation. Okay? We tap into this Ace of Wands, and then you're free to create whatever it is that is going to be a true expression of you. And Cancer, I think that's something difficult for us to do, to be comfortable enough to feel that we have the space to issue forth our own creative will, right? Rather than being just kind of like a little too watery, and adapting to whatever the situation is that we've magically found ourselves. So, Cancer is the cardinal fire sign, or cardinal water sign. So that's the fiery aspect, right, of the water energy. We need to tap more into the fire, be a little bit less water right now, okay? Water is adaptable. Water is easygoing, cool, calm, collected, flows, goes wherever its kind of, its inertia takes it, its momentum takes it. We need a little bit more of the fire. We need to have a little bit more direction and self-determination. We can be adaptable, but too much adaptability, I don't think that's a good thing. I think that'll put us in some situations that we don't particularly want to be in because they weren't intentional. They weren't self-directed. We adapted to it. But if we adapt to something that's toxic, how is that helping us? And I'm not saying you're in any kind of a toxic situation, but if you are adapting to everything that comes your way or every situation that you're in, it's going to really drain you of your energy. And we're going to lose a lot of this connection with the fire. And we're going to be all 10 of Wands. We're going to be all 10. That's going to be energy that is just really at its last leg. There's just kind of out there. The 10 is way out there all by itself, is cut off from the source, from the decision-making, from the utterance, from the issuing forth of the word, of the creation. It's just existing. It's cold, it's dark out there, and its energy is just kind of dissipating into the ether. So we need to get back to the Ace of Wands there. Recent past, a 10, not a 10, Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune. It's the 10th mystery of the tarot. The 10th major arcana. And this, I think, is really kind of the realizations that you've been having about this. I think slowly over time, as you begin to notice, maybe 10 months ago, maybe 10 weeks, I think you've really, you started to notice that your life goes in these kinds of cycles where you will have these periods of connection to the ace. You feel like you're in this furnace, this temperance energy, and you're connecting with that Ace of Wands. And then the wheel keeps turning, and pretty soon we're at the kind of outer rim of the solar system, and we're in that kind of 10 of Wands where we're just a little bit exhausted. We don't know how we got here, but our energy is just going out, 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 and out. and it's really cut off from the source, and it's cold and it's dark, and we've adapted to this. And before we know it, this wheel turns again, and we find that we start to get that aspiration back, right? We start to feel, I don't know what it is, if it's a fire, if it's a sound, if it's a calling that we hear, but then we start to the wheel starts to turn, and we start to look inward again. We start to look for this Ace of Wands. We start to look for our aspiration. What is it that I want to create? What does God, Goddess, Deity flowing through me want me to create? What is my Empress? What is the external representation of my highest beloved, my most beloved, my creative word and will? My highest, truest self-expression. This is it expressed. Okay? And I think that this really shows the kind of the patterns or the cycles that we go through. Okay? And with this Wheel of Fortune being Jupiter energy also, it feels like there is a guiding hand in there. It feels like every time we circle around, we're being asked to learn something from this. Right? Jupiter here is kind of the paterfamilia. It's kind of the force that is trying to teach us in a way where we can learn the most. It's easy to just give someone information. Like Jupiter could just write you an email and tell you what you need to know. But Jupiter would rather kind of take you by the arm and sail around this universe a couple of times, go around this wheel a couple of times, not even saying a word, and then stop for a moment, just look at you with this curious face, waiting to see if the light bulb goes off, if you get it now. If you can say, okay, yeah, I understand the message now. I know what this was supposed to teach me. So it's an indirect way of teaching. It's a teaching by showing or something, And I feel like that's the vibe with the Wheel of Fortune right now for you. And I think that you have begun the process of looking back at these several other trips around the wheel and trying to discern where those moments were that you felt closest to the Ace of Wands, and how you can maybe invoke that yourself, how you can get back to that without waiting for the carousel to go all the way around again, how you can intentionally reach that point of creativity, of confidence, of inspiration and aspiration. Okay. Now, we were talking about being adaptable. Here's the Queen of Cups here. I think that this is something that is kind of looming over you. It is this this water on water, this really intense adaptability, this really intense emotional nature that we have. And this is kind of where we get lost in the sea. It's easy for us crabs to just kind of float down to the bottom of the ocean and just be whisked away by the currents down there. It's cold down here. It's fine. We don't mind it. We maybe move a little slower, but just wherever the current takes us, well, I guess that's where we're going today. And that's, again, kind of the cold, dark outer rim of the universe, or the solar system that we see with the 10 of Wands here. So we can be a little bit too yielding, a little bit too adaptable, right? And then we also can get a little too sentimental about things. We start to settle into our drifting around at the bottom here, being kind of whisked away by the currents, whichever way it's taking us today, eating whatever food comes by and just waving at whatever other life is going by. And all the while, we're kind of getting a little bit sentimental, a little bit nostalgic about this Ace of Wands. I kind of want to swim up to the surface and see if I can find that Ace of Wands again. It's just, I really miss that. We're in the feelings of it, but we have to get to the point where now we can take action and we can start climbing up this 10 of Wands ladder from the 10 to 9, 8, 7, all the way up the ladder to the Ace. And that's kind of the, the lifeline that's going from the bottom back way up to the boat, And I'm kind of thinking of one of those shows, where they're doing the crab pots off the coast there in the Arctic Circle. What is the name of that show? Deadliest Catch. Kind of thinking of the Deadliest Catch. I'm thinking of that crab pot down there at the bottom. Well, we need to kind of, if we're in that crab pot now, right? This kind of looks like a crab pot. We need to get out of there and climb up that rope and get out of the water, get into the boat, take over the boat, right? We're staying inside this crab pot, and we're just, whatever happens, happens, right? We're adapting to it. Saying, this is my life now. These are my new friends. But we know this isn't going to last forever. Eventually, they're going to come back and pull the crab pot up, and who knows where we'll end up. San Francisco, probably. So we need to get out of our own kind of self-made crab pot, and start climbing up that rope. Go from the 10 all the way to the Ace. Rather than lamenting the fact that we're not doing it, rather than just kind of yielding to the situation, being sad about it, and accepting that this is my new home, I guess these are my new friends. Hey, how you doing? We need to do something. We need to take action. This is too much of that Cancer water. We need that Cancer fire. Now, Cancer and fire, wait a minute. A lot of people don't know that Cancer is the cardinal water sign. It's the first onrush. It is the storm, right? It is that sudden and torrential rain that could either really drown us in water, or it could motivate us to, we got to climb to higher ground, right? But in some sense, we are the storm, and it depends on how we're going to use that energy, right? Depends on how we use it. What we have over here is very interesting on the path of the serpent, because we have the Queen of Wands. This is the water of fire. It's kind of the reversal, right? It's the reversal of this fire of water that we are as Cancers. This is the water of the fire. So we're kind of inside out. So now this is almost like, okay, we're taking that water energy, we're using it inside as fuel for our combustion engine. Switching metaphors here now, if you haven't noticed. And we are now outside. We are this fire. We are this ambition. We are climbing up the ladder of fire. It's almost Jacob's ladder here, kind of, And we're starting from the bottom. We're working our way up. And we're still hanging on to the water. We're not forgetting who we are. We're not losing touch with some of our best qualities. Our ability to adapt. Our ability to empathize. Our ability to really feel things deeply. So, we're kind of switching modes here. Rather than being all water, being drowned in it, being consumed by the water, we're now keeping the water inside, but we're wrapping ourselves in a cloak of fire. And that's what we'll need to go from the 10 to the Ace, right? Inside, and this is all, again, taking place inside this art or temperance card, this furnace of our lives. That is our universe right now. And what we see around us is a lot of stability, okay? I think having a stable home, stable family, stable relationships, a routine, an orderly life is very important to you. I think this is your home, and I think your home is very stable and safe and secure. It's your sanctuary. It's your sanctuary. But we have also the tendency of building this. This kind of looks like a castle, maybe the foundation of a castle. I wish it was three-dimensional and we could see. This is your home base. But Cancer, we have the tendency to maybe build these walls too high. Then we kind of isolate in here. We hide in here. It becomes our own self-made crab pot. And with all this water coming in, we're going to be flooded in this tower. And then we're going to need the actual tower, right? The 16th mystery of the tarot to come and tear this tower down. So we have to be careful that we don't isolate, that we don't feel so comfortable in our own home that we never leave, that we never do anything, that we just say, this is my home, these are my friends now, this is my crab pot. So it's very important to have a safe, stable, secure home. We need that as Cancers, but we also need to go outside, you know. We don't want to get too comfortable here. But I do think in your environment, I think you have that. I think you have a very safe, stable, secure home life, foundation of family and stable job, stable income. And that's very important. Very important to have that. We see next the Nine of Wands. So this is us starting the climb. We're taking the first step. And this card's in the position of your fears and worries, by the way. The first step is the most difficult step. The ladder of 10 rungs begins with the first rung. And this is the first rung. And this is about tapping into a little bit of that willpower. The key word for the Nine of Wands is strength. It's inner strength, it's resolve, it's willpower, right? And that's one of the infinite manifestations of an Ace of Wands, right? The Ace of Wands manifests as your resolve, as your willpower. You know, this is just using the force of your body, the force of your muscles, the strength and stability of your bones, the foundation of your life to push yourself up that first rung, that first step. Okay? So the Four of Discs here is really this is the foundation. This is the base platform, the very strong foundation. This is the foundation of your bones, right? And this is you pushing yourself up that first step. Okay? To success, to fulfillment, to your creative will, to endeavors and commitments and oaths and promises that come from your truest self, right? Even if they end up ultimately to be the same things that you're doing now, the same job, same responsibilities, same friends, that's fine. We're tapping into the source, and that's going to re-energize all of these things that we're doing. So they don't feel like something that we've just been kind of adapting to, but it's something that we've intended, that we've willed, because it's our power to do so, right? The final card is the air energy that we've been 33 minutes now trying to avoid. And there is a lot of, you're a very intelligent creature. I think sea life is the most intelligent life on the planet, right? I think sea life is, I think they're from just a different realm, different dimension. I think that they are such spiritual creatures. Oddly enough, I do eat seafood, so I don't know what that's about. The intelligence that you have is very well suited to outsmart you, okay? And I think Cancer, you outsmart yourself a lot. I think that's one of your best qualities is your intellect, okay? You would think about that with Cancer, right? You got the fire, the water. You're a very intelligent creature. And the Four of Swords here is trying to remind us that thought and reason and rationalizing is fine. It's good on its own plane for its own purpose, but it cannot take the place of will and it cannot take the place of action, right? Thoughts are not actions. Thoughts are not the will to action, right? Thoughts are just thoughts. Thoughts come, thoughts go, thoughts can be changed. Beliefs can be changed, right? The winds blow in just chaotic directions. There's no rhyme or reason to the winds, really, right? But we create structure for ourselves through our thinking. We kind of, we find ourselves in our crab pot, and then we kind of justify it. And then we make the plan, we create the ideas and the thoughts and the beliefs that make all of this make sense. right? That's not what we need right now. So we need to take a little bit of a rest from mentally creating our reality, mentally justifying our reality. We need to put these swords down, because these swords are the same four that keep us structured. Now, the four is good. We need structure. We need routine. We need safety and stability and security. But too much of that, we're going to be fencing ourselves in, right? Fencing, pun intended here, fencing like with a sword and fencing like with fences. We're going to be fencing ourselves in rather than allowing us the opportunity, providing ourselves the opportunity to climb this ladder. I was going to say to escape, but to get up that ladder. So your home is your best friend, your intellect is your best friend, but it can also be a rather strong adversary at the same time. Let's do the mystery card now, where this video is getting a little bit long. I sat down today thinking it's going to be a short reading. I'm not feeling too well. This ended up being one of my longest readings this cycle of the zodiac. So a special connection that we have, I think. The mystery card, I think, will be either some water or some more earth energy, because we had one water, we had one earth. We had a little hint of earth, a little hint of water, but mostly it's these two. So I think either earth or water shall be this one. And it is earth. It is a 5 of discs or pentacles, and this is the Rider-Waite-Smith. Now, the images on this card are very telling. I usually don't like to go with the kind of the preconceived scenario that's on these cards, but in this case, I think it's kind of a important one here, because this figure is, I mean, on the crutches there, a little bit weak, a little bit vulnerable. I think sometimes, Cancer, we have a tendency to perhaps rest in our illness, rest in our weakness a little bit. Not weakness per se, because I'm thinking of the 10 of Wands here. I'm thinking of this exhaustion. We're just being pulled in so many directions, and maybe sometimes we feel a little beat up. We feel a little bit run down, a little bit ragged, right? And we may be looking at these coins, these pentacles that are on that stained glass, and thinking, oh God, I bet it's nice and warm in there. I bet it's awesome in there. I bet the people in there are joyous, and the people in there are celebrating, and they're happy for whatever reason. They are fulfilled and they are enlightened. But I've got things to do. I've got to hobble myself through the snow and take care of my responsibilities. I don't have time to look through that window and see what's going on, maybe even go inside, right? And this is kind of a representation of us staying in our crab pot, right? We stay in our crab pot kind of with this idea, that, things would be better if I had the time to go do that. If I had the strength, the energy, to go and do that. So it's a little bit of this idea of being vulnerable, right? Kind of overplaying this sorrow that we're in. Now, I'm not trying to underestimate anyone's plight or sorrow or suffering, right? We're all suffering, okay? But I think we need to try to turn on this fire energy and at least take the time to go inside that building and see what's going on. See, why are these people so happy? What's going on in there that they can have such a spectacular window, right? Why are the people so happy? What are they celebrating? Okay? And it's warm in there. There's food. So I think this is a good confirmation. I think this kind of sums up a lot of this, where it's like we get comfortable in this position that we're in. We've adapted to it, right? this person's adapted to their situation. They have the crutches. She's got the shawl on, or he or she, they have the shawl on. They're making do with the situation that they're in. They've adapted to that situation. The other figure doesn't even realize that there's something in that building, that there's something going on in there. This one kind of notices and thinks, I wish I could go in. But this one over here, they don't even realize that there's anything else going on. And I think this kind of represents some of the energy that we Cancers can sometimes get into. I hope no one gets offended by this reading, right? I want us all to get out of our crab pots. I want us all to go inside this building, see what all the fuss is, right? Because we deserve it. We also deserve an extended reading. We're going to do that right now. Click on the link right there. That'll give you access to all of the extended readings. I apologize for the length of this video. This was your timeless tarot reading, which means that whenever you happen to be watching this, you were meant to see it. It was meant to find you. Okay? Thank you so much for letting me read for you.